Hi everybody, my name is Charlie Zigmond and I'm making this video just to demonstrate a couple of different ways that you can work with text in Excel. To do this, I'm just kind of browsing the list of lists in Wikipedia. A lot of fun here. I figured we'd pick something interesting to look at, and why not a list of Brazilian comedians? Who knows? That doesn't look good. Let's find something. Let's do Australian comedians. Okay, so we've got this grand list of Australian comedians. I'm going to go ahead and take that, or at least some portion of it, into Excel. Go ahead and just paste that somewhere. Alright, not sure why that first one wants to be red, but we'll go ahead and fix that. Alright, so let's look at some different things you can do. So the first thing you can do is we'll copy this, we'll make a second copy so that we can come back and keep messing with it. Paste it there. First thing let's do is let's figure out the length of these names. And to do that, we're going to use the Len function, which is short for length. And you can see all you do is feed in the name and then tell it you want len, and it will return back how many characters there are. As you can see, it counts a space as a character. So if you wanted to do that, you could either subtract one or you could use a formula to count the spaces. Let's do another common thing you might want to do, which is to pull out the first name. Now, the easiest way to do that is to just copy it, paste it, and then use text to columns. Show you where you go to click on that. You hit data, text to columns, delimited, and then you can hit space, and it's going to see that there's spaces in there, and it's going to split those up, and you can see now you have each name separated. So that's one way to attack it. Another way, if you just wanted the first names, for example, would be to use search first. We're going to find a space within this, and we're going to start on the first character. Okay. We'll go ahead and label our columns so it's a little easier to read. Okay. So we have the length, name, space, location, and then so if there's a space in the sixth character, then it must be true that the name is the first 5 characters. And so in order to kind of do that, we're going to use a function called left. So we're going to hit equals left. We're going to say the text is over here. We're going to say the number of characters is this minus 1 because it's counted the space. And so now you can see this has successfully pulled out each name. Now if you wanted the tail end, you could do the opposite. So if you wanted the right side of the name, you could say right, point to that number of characters. The number of characters that you would want is the full length minus the space location, because you're saying I want the entirety of the cell, but I want everything from the right of the first space. So if someone has 2 names, like the bedroom philosopher we saw there, it's going to pull those 2. And so that's one way to do it. Another thing you can do is you can use the formula mid, which what this allows you to do is it's like the best of left and right. It allows you to specify what text you're working with, where do you want to start within the text, so we'll say the 3rd character, and then we'll say we want to see 3 characters. So what this formula is telling it to do is to go ahead and pull in this text, start at the 3rd character, and then pull 3 characters. Okay. So some gibberish answers there, of course, but where this becomes useful is if you're working with ISBNs, for example, and you need to pull out a portion of it. Let's say you have an account number syntax where within your account number there are 4 different parts to it. You may want the 3rd part only, so you have a static range. You have to jump forward every time in order to get to the one you want. Another good function that you can use is the concat. There's 2 of them. There's concatenate and concat. It's just it will take a list instead of just a single one. So the way concatenate works is it means to bring together. So we're going to go to these two cells here. We're going to say concatenate that. We're going to say quote space quote to get the space back that was missing from the fact that we pulled just first name last name. We're going to then point to the last name and then close off our parentheses. Okay. So you can see that then recreates all of their names. Okay. There's another formula called Textjoin. And what this does is it allows you to pull together text while adding in a delimiter. So let's say we wanted to take all of these and turn them into a CSV. So we're going to say the delimiter is a comma. Okay. We're going to ignore empties as true. Sure, that's fine. And then for the text one, we're going to just grab a range here. Just any range. Now if you look at what it's done, it has joined all of that text, added our delimiter after it found each new cell. We can make it a little prettier by putting a space around our comma. You can see now it gives them all a little bit of space. When you really think about it, I think the right thing to do would have been to have just the space after that. Just to have the space after the comma so that it reads the way you would expect it to. You can then use wrap text, middle align, center align. You can see now it's creating all of those names into a list, and you can just expand the range to make it longer. So if I said like 404, that would then go all the way to the bottom and create our entire list as a CSV, which you can then go to Notepad and paste. So there we go. We have that. We have everything in that file as a CSV. Okay. So. Alright, one thing you can do is there is something called formula text, which will basically it will return as text whatever formula was used to generate the text that you see in Excel. And so what I've done here is just went ahead and applied that to the entire range, and so it's just repeating back whatever formula it finds here. And it's nice because that can sometimes allow you to audit things better. There's also a button called control. There's also a hotkey for control and tilde, and that displays the formulas in any workbook. Another common issue I've come across working with text before is if you're trying to have a ISBN that is a certain length but starts with zeros, Excel will often try to cut off the zeros because it thinks you're trying to say a number and it doesn't understand that that number starts with a zero. So you can see here if I just hit a bunch of zeros here, it doesn't allow me to. But what you can do to fix that is you can press Control Shift 1, or actually Control 1, sorry, and then you come down here to custom and you just set your zeros up so that they are the length you would need depending on whatever syntax you're working with, if it's ISBNs or if it's serial numbers or whatever. And by saving that, it'll allow you to prepend the zeros, and it'll even automatically insert them if there aren't any otherwise. And you can use a variety of different things that go in that custom field. You can build text into it by saying, you know, this is a serial number. And that's another way to use that feature. And of course, those aren't all of the different Excel text functions, but those are the ones that I've used the most and found the most useful. And yeah, so I hope you learned something. Thank you for watching.